Welcome. My name is Miss Allen, and today I am introducing you to my first flipped biology class. The topic that we will discuss today will be ecosystem. The unit is ecology. Today's learning objectives will cover the differentiation, the levels of organization, analyzing the various types of ecosystem, evaluating the flow of energy throughout an ecosystem, distinguishing between producers and consumers, contrast food webs as well as food chains, analyze why trophic levels are rarely longer than 3 to 4 links, identify a species niche and habitat, and examine the role of humans in habitat loss. Today's Common Core standards will include LS1, from molecules to organism structure, structure and processes. This, of course, will include standards 2, 5, 6, and 7, which, of course, embeds the interaction of species, the process of photosynthesis and the transfer of light, the cycling of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, along with the process of cellular respiration. Standard LS2, which is ecosystems, their interactions, energy, and dynamics, which includes standards 1 through 7, cycles of matter and energy flow, as well as biodiversity and populations, the role of photosynthesis and cellular respiration, species interaction within, of course, their environment to maintain stability, and the impact of human activity on the environment. Of course, we would like to give thanks to the references of Holt Biology, which of course you should have at home, Glencoe Biology, The Dynamics of Life, and Takstar Science, the introductory to, of course, ecosystems. As we begin to study ecosystems, we want to first take a step back and look at ecology. Ecology is the study of living things and their interaction. That's a crucial point, interaction with the ecosystem. An ecosystem is a biological community of interacting organisms. As we identify the groupings of life of these organisms, we want to, of course, look at the individual species, an organism in a population of the same species. Populations in themselves are a group of individuals of species that live in the same area. These populations grow to, of course, develop communities, all the populations of a species in that given area. Communities come together to form ecosystems. A community, and it's abiotic. That is, of course, the non-living environment that surrounds it. Ecosystems are a part of a larger unit called biomes, a group of similar ecosystems. Altogether, they make the big biosphere. There's that word bio, which of course represents life. A biosphere represents all of the sum of living things. Living things could not exist without the process of photosynthesis. It is through this process that plants can, of course, take in sun's energy and convert it to that of chemical energy. Light energy transferred to that of chemical energy. It is through this process that plants take in this CO2 and, of course, along with water, in the presence of that light energy, and they make, of course, carbohydrates, which is this glucose. We know it as sugar, along with oxygen, that's 6CO2. The opposite of photosynthesis, as you see here, is cellular respiration. If we just take this arrow and, of course, switch it to the opposite direction, it now becomes that of cellular respiration. Cellular respiration takes place, of course, in that of the chloroplast. Photosynthesis in itself is the process of converting that light energy, as stated before, to chemical energy, and it's stored in the bonds of the sugar. The process takes place in some plants as well as some algae. Photosynthesis takes place in the green pigments inside the plants called chloroplasts. Here again is an actual example of photosynthesis that occurs here with the sunlight. of course, energy going into the chloroplast, and of course, it's broken down from there with the process, or help, I should say, of carbon dioxide and that of sugar. As we move along, we're going to look at, of course, the factors that contribute to the process of photosynthesis, the living as well as the non-living, things that interact in order for photosynthesis to occur. Within an ecosystem, you have, of course, living factors, those things that are alive, such as, of course, animals, plants, fungi, and decomposers. And we have, of course, abiotic factors, those things that are not alive, such as your water, your sunlight, the wind, soil, as well as temperature. All play a factor in the process of cellular respiration as well as photosynthesis occurring. Ecosystems, of course, have to maintain a balance in order for this interaction to occur. The interaction of species is crucial to the stability of any ecosystem. When we look at ecosystems, we see here that we have terrestrial, which are mainly on land, as well as aquatic, which is, of course, mainly water. When, of course, you look at the terrestrials, you see the forests, the tundras, grasslands, and deserts. Those, of course, are terrestrial, land ecosystems. When you look at aquatic, it's mainly, of course, that which you see in lakes, ponds, rivers, streams, make up, of course, the aquatic ecosystem. There are several different types of ecosystems that you see every day. What, of course, do all of these ecosystems that you see before you have in common? Let's find the answer. These ecosystems, as you see before you, are all considered artificial ecosystems. That means that they are designed. They are designed by, of course, man. Parks, farm, schoolyards, backyards, zoos, aquariums are all a part of what's called artificial ecosystems. Then, of course, you have natural ecosystems. These are ecosystems that, of course, are not designed by man. They're not made by humans. They are the fields, the meadows, the streams, and, of course, the forests. When you look at the different types of ecosystems that exist, you see, of course, that in an artificial ecosystem, you have less diversity that exists. There's less species, as I point out here, that exists within, of course, an artificial ecosystem. However, in the natural ecosystem, you see the variety of diversity that exists. This biodiversity allows for the ecosystem to maintain a level of stability, giving living things a chance to survive, reproduce, and expand on. Biodiversity, of course, is a measure of the number of different organisms in an ecosystem. You have, of course, low biodiversity that often exists in artificial ecosystems, and you have higher biodiversity that exists in, of course, the natural ecosystems. Here in low biodiversity, of course, species have a less chance of interaction and a less chance of survival. Here, however, in the higher biodiversity, you have a multitudes of species that can feed off of each other, that can interact and increase their chances of survival. Within an ecological system, all species have a role that they have to play. And that role, of course, is called a niche. It's a role, of course, that's dependent upon the interaction of a species with its abiotic as well as its biotic factors throughout an ecosystem. When you see the two pictures before you, you see, of course, the bear along with its cub. Its role is, of course, to protect and feed the cub. The same with that of the giraffe. Your role as a student is to be educated, to be a son, to be a daughter, to be that friend. There are various roles that a species play in order to enhance their chances to survive within an ecosystem. Species in itself are similar. They can breed and they can, of course, reproduce. In order for a species to enhance its chances of surviving, work has to be done. But in order for that work to be done, species need energy. How then does the energy flow throughout an ecosystem? Of course, we have at the bottom of this particular pyramid, we have producers. Plants are the producers for us as humans. They are called autotrophs. They make their own food through the process of photosynthesis. Since humans cannot make their own food, we are called, of course, consumers. We consume the food provided by the producers. As a consumer, humans are heterotrophs. There's various forms of heterotrophs that, of course, feed off of that of the producers. As energy flows up this pyramid, it lessens 10% per level. If it starts with 100, its next is 10, then it's 1, then it's, of course, 0.1. At the top of the pyramid, it doesn't exceed itself no longer than 3 to 4 links because there's no energy left or available. Therefore, 90% of the energy goes off into the atmosphere as heat. Keeping energy is very crucial for the body to maintain itself in order to survive. We get this energy from our number one producers, which are plants. However, even though we get our energy mainly from that of plants, it's crucial that we keep in mind that the plants must maintain themselves on this planet. Habitat destruction or loss is going at a rapid rate due to cattle ranching, due to, of course, agricultural, commercial, lodging, fires, mining, all are playing contributing factors to habitat destructions, mainly created by that of humans. So therefore, to save our land, to save our oxygen, and to, of course, help maintain healthy foods, humans must be very cautious as to cattle ranches because they in themselves consume 60% of our land. The following activities I've listed for you, of course, are things that I would like for you to review before coming to class. I hope that this video has been very educational to you, and I look forward to seeing your reviews back in class. Thank you.